Hi, it's Kim from Expressions of the Universe with your weekly wisdom for November 14th through November 20th. And we are on approach to the full Beaver moon in Taurus with a lunar eclipse on Friday, November 19th. I have your stars and cards, and I have cards for every zodiac sign for the eclipse. I will be using the Wisdom of the Oracle deck by Colette Baron Reed. I haven't used this for a really long time, and I needed a feel-good deck because the energy is crazy. What else is new? Our crystals of the week are not petrified wood or dumortierite. I have celestite. I have a really faux pas. I have a really great piece of celestite right here. This is angelic connection to the other realms, connection to the divine and the universe. And I love that heart symbol because it feels like we really need to connect our hearts with something higher, something otherworldly, and celestite will take you there. It will take you to the angelic realm. I like to sleep with this under my pillow, even though it's a little uncomfortable sometimes, but it will bring some great dreams, especially we're in a Pisces moon now. However, it is moving into Aries, so we can expect to have a boost of energy, the ability to get things done. And on the flip side of that, a lot of anger could come out and hatred. So you want to put yourself to work. Use that Aries moon energy that we're moving into at the beginning of the week. Use that to get things done, to check off your to-do list. Chop wood, carry water, keep yourselves busy. Mundane things that, keep your mind clear. My other crystal of the week is Obsidian, and because of the light, and I only have a little piece here, but the photo that I took today at the crystal shop that I work out of, there's so much great obsidian, so I got a good photo of that. Wait till you get a load of the piece of celestite that I took a photo of this with. But what this obsidian is asking is for us to look at our shadow. Now, obsidian is a great protection stone, but in this case, we're using it as a mirror to take a really good look at ourselves. We're taking a look at all of the different parts of ourselves, particularly the shadow, looking to see what within us we may be able to change. More on both of these during the week. I'll be channeling a message for all of us on Facebook and Instagram. And the goddess of the week, perfect for this lunar eclipse and the full moon. And it's Freya. And Freya is talking about radical acceptance. These dogs, I'm sorry, the dogs are having a good time. Freya is the Norse goddess of Friday. The day Friday was named after her, Freya's day. Oh, can you see it? She's a Norse goddess of war. So you're going to see when I pull up the presentation, I will have the chart here and I'm going to go into some explanation. I'm really sorry about the dogs, but I think they're feeling Aries moon energy coming in. Anyway, it's really interesting that Freya shows up for us this week with the full moon and the lunar eclipse, because there is a lot of tension. We're coming into some crazy times. The United States is coming into their Pluto return, and there are some really interesting aspects in that whole chart. The North Node and South Node are getting ready to shift into Taurus and Scorpio. There's a lot of stuff that is going to be happening over the next 2 years, And we need radical acceptance of everything that's going to be going on around us. So I'm going to channel a message from Freya this week, posted on Facebook and Instagram, and it's going to be paired with that full moon and lunar eclipse. So stay tuned for that. Let's pull some cards for all astrological signs for this lunar eclipse and full moon. And then I'll go into the chart presentation for the upcoming eclipse. And hopefully, I worked on this presentation like all day yesterday. And I thought that I would be able to get the video done, and I couldn't. And I wanted it to be so much more, but like, how many days am I going to spend? Like, I have to do the weekly wisdom. I got to pull your cards for you. Not sure yet if I will be having a Tarot Tuesday live this week. My schedule is stretched beyond thin. So we will see. We will see. All right, I'm going to cut these cards. I'm going to pull from the top, starting with Aries. You want to look at your sun sign, your rising sign, your moon sign, and any sign that has a cluster or stellium in another sign. And then we'll talk about which signs really need to look out for this lunar eclipse and the full moon. It's definitely going to be Taurus and Scorpio. This full moon is at Taurus at 27 degrees. The sun will be at 27 degrees of Scorpio. And so you want to look for where are they in your chart, because then that'll tell you which house is going to be affected by this. What will be illuminated? What is remaining in the shadow? I've been talking all day. I've been doing readings all day. So, excuse me. Let's get started. Aries, suns, risings, and moons. I will put on my glasses. Aries, interesting. Fork in the road is coming up for you. And the fork in the road says that you will be needing to make a decision. You have to choose. Now is the time to choose. And you're probably going to be faced with this most likely sometime in December, because a lot of times things don't happen exactly on the eclipse. Now, I have had something happen exactly on the eclipse, but it's usually maybe leading up to, but most likely following. In 2 weeks from now, we do have a full solar eclipse in Gemini. I'll talk about that in 2 weeks. But for now, Aries, a fork in the road, a decision has to be made. You got to shit and get off the pot. Shit or get off the pot. Like, it's got to happen. Taurus, it's time for a nap. Oh my gosh, that's my rising sign. And it surely is time for a nap. I've reached the end. Time for a nap just says, take this time. It's time to rest. The lunar eclipse is putting us into a slumber of Taurus, suns, risings, and moons. Take advantage of it. So, the beginning of the week is going to be very busy with the Aries moon. And then the moon moves into Taurus, I believe on early Thursday, maybe late Wednesday, depending on where you are. And we're going to want to really slumber down. So take that rest. Geminis. I love this. Treasure Island. And Treasure Island talks about protecting the things that you value most, putting them out on an island, so to speak, putting them away, putting things away for, leaner times, maybe. Also, taking a look at the things that you value most, Gemini. Cancers. Cancers is happy, happy. So I know Cancers, the card that I pulled for you last week had you in service to other people. Now it's like time for you to break free. And so Pop those balloons, pop that champagne cork, and time for the Cancers to celebrate. Leo, unfinished symphony. So if there are things that you need to tie up, Leos, there are loose ends, things, unfinished projects. It's time for you to use the energy of the moon this week to finish things that you haven't. Revisit some items to see if you're going to scrap a project altogether. Unfinished symphony also talks about ghosts from the past coming back to haunt you. Old lovers, old friends, something. There's a lot of unfinished business for the Leos that has to be taken care of over the next couple of weeks. Virgo, you have serendipity. I love that, Virgo. So this full moon is going to be trine to your sun rising or moon. And so serendipity, pay attention to the signs, pay attention to the coincidences, which I say are never coincidences, but some magic and good luck is coming your way. Libra, I almost skipped Libra again. Libra, it is imagine. This is talking about dreaming big. The sky is the limit here. Imagine all the possibilities of what you want. Make those wishes, make them big, dream big, because something's got to come true. When you can let down your limitations of your mind, imagine big and dream big. Scorpios has message in a bottle. Pay attention to the signs. Pay attention to the writing on the wall is what I'm hearing, but it's all different signs, whether it is writing on the wall, literally or figuratively, numbers, songs, animal totems, everything. There is a message out there for you. This is really a time for you to tap in. The sun is in its final days this week of Scorpio season. So now's the time for you to tap into your own intuition and see that message that is coming through for you. Sagittarians, this is, it is chaos and conflict. So we're getting ready to come into Sagittarius birthday season, which is fantastic. Chaos and conflict. It's like two sides of the same coin. The winds of change are blowing through. There is something swirling around you that you may have to take care of. Also, too, you're seeing something one way, but it's really something completely different. So remain open to not knowing or changing your perception of what it is you're actually seeing and perceiving. And these winds of change that are swirling around you are actually, they're going to seem like chaotic and like there's chaos and conflict around you, but it's actually clearing the way to open you up to, something brand new for the next year. Capricorns, this is loyal heart. And loyal heart comes through to ask the Capricorns, are you loyal to yourself? Who is loyal to you? Who has your heart? Whose heart do you want? But this is also talking about, there's a couple of messages here. It does talk about loyalty. Who's loyal to you? Who are you loyal to? And then also too, some of you could be coming into relationship, meeting somebody that will be of a loyal heart to you. So I really love this card. It's pretty beautiful. The symbolism is great. I love it. Aquarius, new life, new beginnings, something new. You're breathing new life into maybe an old project. Something is resurfacing or something brand new is going to show up for you. New opportunity. It's waking you up. It's something that's going to ignite your passions, Aquarius. I really love it. It could be work, job related. It could be relationship related, creativity. That will lead to prosperity. So I love that for the Aquarians. And then last but not least, the Pisces. Pisces, it is peace. And I love this because Pisces, you're often on an emotional roller coaster, and finally you can breathe some peace into your life. With the sun being in Scorpio, it's trining either your sun, your moon, or your rising, whatever, your Pisces planets are. And so it's bringing a beautiful harmony to you, but only for a short period of time, because things are going to heat up and start moving very quickly for the Pisces after this. Next year for Pisces is going to be off the chain in a really great way. Love the energy for Pisces for next year. Okay, I'm going to do my presentation. I have to pull it up and get it set up so that needed my mouse pad so that I can talk about this full moon. And let's see, what are we doing? Yeah, all right. Yeah, I'm gonna share my screen. I'm gonna share my screen, and hopefully you'll be able to see my presentation. So we have the full Beaver moon in Taurus, 27 degrees with the lunar eclipse. And oh, that's just going to play over and over again. I guess I have to advance the screen. All right. This will occur on November 19th, 2021. There are a few places in the world where it happens just before midnight on November 18th. This will be happening East Coast time, 3:57 a.m. You may want to wake up to see that. I think I'm going to set my alarm so that I can capture that. I do have the full moon eclipse times from around the world. I picked a couple of places. I'm outside of Philadelphia. I did London, UK, Honolulu, Hawaii, Sydney, Cape Town, and then Los Angeles, and then the UTC, Greenwich Mean Time. So adjust for your area, but it gives you an idea of when to see this eclipse. It's going to be pretty amazing now that I know how to use my camera, and I've been posting some moon pictures every day as the moon changes into signs. It's cloudy out tonight, so couldn't get anything tonight, but I'm hoping that I can get some really great photos of this. All right, so the planets, I have this here. You can go back and watch this video, stop the screen, check it out. This is mostly mundane astrology descriptions, very general, but it just gives you an idea. Like when I'm looking at the astrology and I'm looking at it from a mundane perspective, which is, for the collective, the planets represent different parts of our world, the people that are in it. So it helps me to figure out like the moving pieces of what's going on in the world. And then, of course, the houses in that same perspective. And so this is the chart for Philadelphia, the full moon, lunar eclipse. Now, what's interesting, I want to point out, from my perspective, this is hitting the 2nd house and the 8th house, okay? Because the sun is down here in the 2nd house in Scorpio, the moon is up here in the 8th house in Taurus. A few hours later, the moon will move into Gemini, so because it's right at the very end. I wanted to show you, I did the chart for London, UK during this lunar eclipse, and you'll see the sun is in the 11th house and the moon is in the 5th house. So to give you a description of how that will affect you, you really need to look at your own chart. This is based on the longitude and latitude of where you live. And so you can see that if I'm looking at the UK, because longitude and latitude wise, they are so much higher than, you know, Philadelphia at 39 degrees north, and London is 51. So the perspective is different. I'm going to read this from a Philadelphia standpoint. I can take a look at this, and the first thing that pops out to me, of course, is the opposition of the sun and the moon. That's how you get a full moon. The nodes are right, well, if I took Vesta out of here, the nodes are right next to the sun and the moon. That's how you get this eclipse. But we also have Mercury conjuncting the sun, Mars just in the background, the south node riding the sun here, north node riding the moon. Those are the nodes of fate. So fated incidences. In the sun in Scorpio with Mercury here says that there's been some hidden communications that are going to come out. The moon is the people. The sun is usually leadership, you know, government's leadership, the heads of state. The moon usually is hiding, secret, deception, but that's the sign of Scorpio. So it's like we are at an opposition with an opposition. Things are not clear. And then I look to how Mercury is trining. Is it? Yeah, Mercury is trining. So is the sun, Neptune. So our perceptions are foggy and cloudy, and we're not really sure of our footing. Jupiter comes into the mix. He's making a T-square to the nodes, and Jupiter wants things to be bigger and grander. So whatever is happening, there's chaos here for sure, because we have Mars and Uranus in an opposition to each other. And so this is like the lands and the waters and the earth. There's some sort of tension there, and we're not seeing it clearly. But so this could bring about disruptions in the earth, the weather, the atmosphere, the ground itself. We could be seeing earthquakes. We could be seeing volcanic eruptions. Some kind of crazy weather could be happening. And Jupiter says, more, more, more. Neptune in this mix, that often talks about water. So we could hear of a big flood, or, you know, maybe a huge snowfall, depending on where you live. Something crazy is going to happen. I'll tell you that. What else was I looking at? The aspect of Pluto and the moon. And so there's a trine between Pluto and this moon. And so something in our area is coming to an end. I really feel like there's commerce involved, mercantile. Let me just move my slide ahead because I think I wrote something about it. This was the UK chart, so you could see where that's happening. And you know what? Very well, it could be like 11th and 5th house for the UK, whereas for here, East Coast, United States, it's second house of values and money, taxes, things that we owe people. There's a good chance with this moon up in the 8th house in Taurus that, and I know I have a tax bill that's due. I have to actually pay that tomorrow. Because it was due on the 1st, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't go down, but my tax office is right at the end of my street. So a bill that we forgot about, or maybe an unexpected expense comes up surrounding our homes, our taxes, our money, our finances, our paycheck. the things that we value. All right, this is the chart with the aspects. So everywhere you see red is tension, and there is a lot of tension going on. The blue is usually harmonious. So there's a good mix from both ends. And it's hard to see because everything is really jammed up in here. There's so much back and forth. We have that harmony happening, but we also do have a lot of disruption. There's a lot of chaos and disruption with that Mars and Uranus. All right, so my distorted chart. Second house values, money, conjunct Mercury, currency, merchants, conjunct South Node in Scorpio, secrets, lies that are beneath the surface. Keep expecting shocking news. The moon equals the people. It's in the 8th house of Taurus. With the North Node in Aries, money gets tight. We search for value. We search for value. We have to look at our values, and we're left in the shadows of what is really going on in the world. Uranus and Mars opposing, a revolution is coming. It is here, it is building. The Libra rising here, fairness, balance, justice. Aries, where is she? Where is she? Aries is in Aries. Oh, right here. I have her here. She is pretty much riding shotgun next to Uranus. She is stirring the pot. Remember, she is the goddess of chaos and discord, very much like Freya. She wants justice for all the people. She wants everybody to have a voice. Everybody, all sides, everybody's got to have a voice. We're just coming into this. Jupiter, T square, I talked about that. The T square looks like this V with the line. Uranus, Mars, shouting, bigger, more, fight, push for your rights. Neptune trining Mars, creativity and imagination to our needs and worries. So we will be getting very creative about how to stretch our dollar, how to get by, how to make things work. We will be getting very creative, which is wonderful. This Ceres moon conjunction, well, the moon is on approach to cross her, and she's still in the aspect of shortages in food and goods. Think about this Mercury. Mercury rules the merchant, the mercantile. Moon will move into Gemini later, opening communication. We also want to take a look at, go back 19 years to, I believe, November of 2002, because that is the last time we had this eclipse. And I believe it was in 27 degrees Scorpio Taurus. So if you are old enough, you can remember what was going on back then. Take a look and see where it fell in your chart, and maybe it'll give you some insight. I didn't get a chance to look at my own. Well, for me, it would be in my first house, my first and seventh. And I'm like, yeah, there was some relationship weird things going on. Nothing really stands out in my mind particularly. So I don't know. I'm sure there was something significant, but I can't particularly think of it. Remember, these eclipses move in 19-year cycles and they repeat themselves. All right, so I'm bringing up the chart of Joe Biden because he is a 27-degree Scorpio sun. I'm a little bit worried, and not because I'm political. I'm like so far out of politics. I'm just looking at it from an astrologer's point of view. And I'll show you why. I think I have it on the next slide. This lunar eclipse is right on his sun. And that is usually never a good thing, to be honest. And not to mention, it's in the 12th house, which, you know, is often related to the other side, but it's also related to past actions. So I am wondering how this is going to hit him, because I look back to when the eclipses were in Leo and they weren't hitting Donald Trump's sun. They were hitting his rising or moon. I think it was his rising. And his trajectory changed after those eclipses. Not that he passed, although it seemed as though he would have a heart attack. He wound up, falling out of favor in many ways. So here I put the chart, Joe Biden's chart with the planetary aspects. This moon is in his 6th house, which is health. Okay. I know the South Node. I wish I would have taken Vesta out of here so you could have seen it, but pretend Vesta isn't here. The South Node is riding this sun and it's conjuncting his sun and his Venus. The South Node drains energy. It drains the life force, as does eclipses. Mars is almost exact as Mars. Acute illness, like a sudden acute illness, I see could be happening to him. It's riding on the cusp of that 12th house, but it is in the 11th. So something could happen in the outer world surrounding people. Like, I don't want to say it, but there could be an attempt on his life. Something sudden, something happens. Now, I could also see that he could get some sort of intestinal virus or bug. I feel as though with this moon in the 6th house and his sun, also Mercury, and this South Node in the 12th, he could be hospitalized for something. So let's pay attention to that. I'm just putting that out there. And there are other aspects that I see, but I just kind of wanted to throw it out here so as to make a record. Also, his Saturn is in Gemini. And so I feel as though that could be definitely like, lungs, the clavicle, arms and hands, and something could be broken. What else? What else? I know that it's going to be sudden, unexpected. And with this ruling the lungs, it could be the end of breath, so to speak. So we're going to have to see. And then the other person that I had a little like intuitive hit on, and I've said it before, and I don't know how she keeps going, God bless her, is Queen Elizabeth II, Queen of England. And what I found interesting is this eclipse is right on her midheaven with obviously Mars, acute illness, Saturn, chronic illness. We could be hearing of something because this midheaven is her monarchy. The South Node, remember, pretend Vesta is not here. The South Node is riding the moon. So that could be like the draining of life from the monarchy. Just saying. Or it could, be further illness for her. I just see that there's a lot of changes happening with herself personally. And there's a big worry about the values surrounding her. Now, her sun sign is 0 degrees Taurus. It's too far away from the moon for it to really have an effect because the moon is at 27 degrees. We really don't like to go beyond 10 degrees difference. So I'm not looking at that. But Aries is almost right. Aries is almost conjunct her sun. What else? Everything is so jammed up here. I think this is my biggest concern, is the sun, South Node, Mercury, and Mars right on her midheaven and on her Saturn. Oh, there was a Jupiter aspect I was curious about. So, Jupiter, where's her Jupiter? Oh, I know, I'm almost positive that I was thinking, oh, okay. So Jupiter is conjunct her Jupiter in the 1st house. Oftentimes when people cross to the other side, it's because Jupiter is transiting. It's typically their sun or their moon or one of the nodes. So probably not, but I would say that there's a good possibility that when this Jupiter crosses her sun, which would be April 21st, somewhere between now and then, I think that that could be the end, but there's something happening in the monarchy for sure. I think there's shifts and change of energy and power. Head of state, remember, the sun in this lunar eclipse represents the head of state, Mercury. What are we hearing? What are we knowing? What are we seeing? War and strife with this Mars, and the draining of life from this head of state. So that's what I'm saying. Just making a public record, because a lot of times I'll make a video and people will say to me a year later, a year and a half later, oh my God, you talked about that. So that's all. Thank you so much for watching, and happy full moon. Remember, I'm at expressionsoftheuniverse.com on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, my blog, YouTube. I'm going to stop sharing. So I want to put out there again that the nodes, the North Node, South Node, are shifting December 22nd into Taurus, Scorpio. It's going to be huge. I wrote a whole blog. I really should do a video on it. I just haven't had time, and I do like to write because it's really, it's meditative for me. It's therapeutic. I am going to do a video on the Pluto return in the United States because I channeled crazy information. There's so much going to be happening. And so I think the combination of the nodes moving into Taurus, Scorpio, and Pluto return happening in the United States, which does affect the entire world, it's going to be huge. So stay tuned. I am going to make that presentation. Let me know if you liked my little presentation there, and if you liked your cards. And I'll see you when I see you. Happy full moon. Please set up your rituals. I wanted to list a thing of rituals. I just didn't have the time. Anyway, take care. I'll see you. I'll let you all know on Facebook and Instagram if I'm doing a Tarot Tuesday live. Right now, I just don't have the time. And also stay tuned for the cards and the crystal of the week. Have a good one. I'll see you on the other side. I just don't know how to turn this off yet.